welcome to episode 8 of Musical Reflections of a Slightly Conscious Being, and we are mid-season. So when I started this series, I was thinking about doing 16 episodes on the first season, and then think if it would make sense to do a second season or not. So today will be actually the mid-season episode. I won't be going live next Friday. Okay, I'm just taking a week off. But then we'll resume the episode. So just letting you guys know that next Friday there won't be I won't be here live. Okay. So today we are going to talk about the last stage of grief. So if you were here on the previous episode, on episode 7, where I shared the song My Heart Still Skips a Beat, we talked about grief, and I talked about the stages of grief. And today I'm going to talk more about the last stage. And actually, this is a song that I haven't, it wasn't on my original plan. So when I started this plan, I wrote 16 songs here, but some songs are very incomplete and I still don't know if I'm going to finish them or not. But meanwhile, I found my old lyrics notebook. And this goes back to 2004, this notebook. And that's where I wrote. I used to write. Now I don't write it here. I don't write here anymore. But it's where I used to write all the lyrics I came up with. So there are songs here that I did a long time ago, and I was browsing through this notebook and I found the song that I'm going to share today. It's a song that I haven't. It's one of those songs that I wrote and then I totally forgot about it. But then I saw the lyrics, and here I don't know music notation. I mean, I can read a bit, but I cannot write music sheets or anything. I just write the lyrics. And then I do the rest. And then the melody is here. But usually when I see the lyrics, the guitar comes back to me, and everything as I envisioned the song comes back to me. So I saw this song and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even remember this song anymore. And I knew it had a weird guitar progression because I was just starting out on the guitar. But I knew I had come up with something that was great, but hard to play and not very standard. And so it took me a while to remember how it was played. I'm just trying to find it so you guys can see. But then suddenly it came to me, and usually it's just the first chord. And when you find the first note, then the others just come. And here we go. So here's the song, and it's called Forever. And then it's a song that I haven't. It was totally buried in my mind. It was there for sure, but it's a song that I didn't even remember anymore. And when I found it and I started playing it, and I wrote this song. Actually, this will be the oldest song I'll be presenting because it was written back. I cannot know for sure, but I think it was written back right in the beginning of my first relationship. It was around 2006, 2007, perhaps. Not later than that. And I got really emotional because it's a song that. It was totally buried, but it was there, and it was a song that was filled with the emotions when you first start going out with someone, and it was, of course, the feelings were very deep, were very strong, and so it was a song that made me remember how good it was when it first started out, when the relationship started, and of course brought many feelings. And then, at first I was a bit sad, but then, I felt grateful, and I felt like so happy for having experienced that. We were both very young. We were 18, and we were just so happy that we found each other, and it was just that. And I think I cried. I cried really easily. It's not that hard to make me cry. But tears that started like tears of sadness then turned into tears of happiness, gratefulness for having experienced all those emotions, of being in love and being loved back. And that's one of the tells that you are on the final stage of the grieving process, is that when you can look back to what was, to the memories that you had with the person that is no longer in your life, and feeling happy for them, okay, yeah, sad, but then you're happy because you experienced all that, even though it's the past, and you can see, okay, this was the past, it's not here anymore, I'm not here anymore. But this happened, and I got the opportunity to experience this. And that's acceptance. That's accepting what was. And that's the theme for today. So the theme for today is accepting what was, what is, and what may or may not be. Here I had written, what is and what will never be. But I don't like to, the thing is, of course, will never be the future that I had planned. And we'll talk about that later. But of course, that will never be. Yes. But some words that I don't like, never is a very, very strong word. And it's very, and that's why I changed it to what may or may not be. Not because, of course, that reality will never happen. The reality I had when I wrote this song. But I don't like to use that word. It's just think it's not right to say never, or never say never, right? And it's just like that. I don't like the word never. Of course, that future will never happen. Yes, but I don't like to say never. Just say what may or may not be without that person in your life, right? Okay. So let's do this, and I'm going to share this song forever. Hopefully I think the sound will be cool. By the way, guys, in my notebook, where's Stig? Stig is not here. Stig is my friendly, the guy who gets me with my love for cars. So back then, when I was younger, my favorite car was this one. I don't know if you guys know which car is this. Does anyone know which car is this? And and it's written here, but don't. I don't think you can see. Do you guys know which car this is? It was my favorite car when I was a teenager, and well, it's still one of my favorite cars. Of course, now my favorite car is my car, but it's still a car that's really, if one day I get to be extraordinarily rich, that I have a lot of money, I would love to buy one of these and restore. It's a Citroën, yeah. It's a Citroën, yes, John. You're absolutely right. You know the model. Yeah, it's a Citroën. It's the DS. It's a car that was very, very, very futuristic. And there you go, Stig. Here you are. I was just talking about you. That's awesome. I love when I'm talking about someone that someone pops up in the chat. It's just so awesome. Happy Friday, Stig. Ching ching. And I was just sharing my favorite car when I was a teenager and, a kid and a teenager. It's still one of my favorite cars. I just love it. It's a Citroën. It's a DS. This one is a 21, I think. It's a 21 Palace. This one is from 1973. It was one of the most futuristic cars ever. It was the very first car that the lights will turn when you turn the wheel. It had hydraulic suspension. It had a lot of advancements for the age, and it was the design for the 70s is totally futuristic. Like, we're talking about an age where cars had those fins, right? And then you have something that is so futuristic and so beautiful, and it's a work of impressive work of design. It's just a work of art. And I already had an opportunity to see some of them live. I would love to drive one of them because everybody says that it's a unique feeling to drive a car like that. But unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, I never had the chance to drive one. I would love to drive one and own one for sure, to restore one. Do you like the Citroën CX? Let's see the CX. Let me check, Guido. I remember I liked the BX. Now I don't like it. But when I was a kid, I liked it. Let's see the CX. Oh, no. The CX is really ugly. No. I know. I've seen. I draw one of these. I think it was the very first car I drew. There was a neighbor in a house that I live in that had a car like this, a silver one, a CX, and I draw it because I appreciate the design of Citroen, but no, I think it's ugly. But it was the one that came after the DS, I think. Yeah, but Citroën had amazing design back then. Really, really, really appreciate it. So enough about cars. Don't get me started on cars, guys. You know how I am. Okay, let me grab my guitar and let me show you guys this song. I had a lot of influences by Britney Spears back then, so I'm sure you'll feel some influences on this song as well. I think Hambo would appreciate this song. No more on cars. I started it, right? I started it, so. Okay. Never thought it could be like this. Never thought love could touch so deep in me. When I look into your eyes, that's when I realize that I will never, no, never let you go. When I feel the touch of your hand, that's when I finally understand one could ever feel like we do. Cause your love is a mirror of what I feel for you. When you're far away, all I think is when I'll stay close to you again. For I'll never let you go. When we're close and then you go away, I still feel you. Still feel your body, your hands. I close my eyes and I see yours looking into my soul, saying that you'll never let me go. You're more than I've ever dreamed for me. You always know how I feel, cause your love is a mirror of what I feel for you. When you're far away, all I think is when I'll stay close to you again. Or I'll never let you go. And today I fell in love with. I haven't played my vintage in a very long time, and while I was rehearsing, I actually came out with two ideas for songs. I was so happy. So sometimes I get inspired by instruments, and every guitar. I own 7 guitars. I feel I own too many guitars. I know there's no such thing for guitar players, but for me there is, and I do have some guitars that I feel like I never use them. Just keep them for sentimental value. But truth is, all my guitars have different sounds, and I haven't played this one in a while, so I played it and I came up with 2 song ideas today. Yay! It was a good day. Okay, there you go, guys. So this is my song Forever. It's called Forever. And it sets the theme for today. So thank you so much for the claps. Thank you, Guido. Thank you, John. Thank you, Stig. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kevin. So Again, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of Musical Reflections of a Slightly Conscious Being. I'm Sandra Lourenço, a music artist that is on a journey towards consciousness, and I just shared my song Forever. And today we're going to talk about navigating through grief. Okay, navigating through, no, I didn't change it. So we're going to talk about the last stage of grief. Sorry, that was the last episode. Last episode, we talked about navigating through grief, and the last stage of grief is acceptance, and that's what we are going to focus today. All right. So the lyrics are very straightforward. I don't think I need to analyze them. I will mention them. But then we're just going to go and dive deep into the theme today. And I think there's no point in analyzing the song because it's really easy. It talks about being in love with someone, being loved back, and feeling that you are loved back the same way that you were loving that person. And you feel like you're going to stay with that person forever. And that's pretty much it. So let's start with the lyrics. I never thought it could be like this. Never thought love could touch so deep in me. When I look into your eyes, that's when I realize that I will never, no, never let you go. And when I feel the touch of your hand, that's when I finally understand no one could ever feel like we do. Because your love is a mirror of what I feel for you. And when we're far away, all I think is when I'll stay close to you again, for never let you go. And when we're close and then you go away, I still feel you. I still feel your body, your hands. I close my eyes and I see yours, looking into my soul, saying that you'll never let me go. You're more than I've ever dreamed for me. You always know how I feel. Because your love is a mirror of what I feel for you. And when we're far away, all I think is when I'll stay close to you, again, for never let you go. And the original still had a few more lines that I know I think I had a bridge, but I don't remember the melody of the bridge, so I ended up not including them on the song. But it's basically saying, I know we'll follow the same way and nothing will set us apart. Now that I've found you, we'll be together forever and ever. I will love you forever and ever. So yeah, just basically reinforcing the idea. So it's very straightforward, easy to understand, right? It talks about how much basically we were in love with each other. And it was something that I think it made it even more special is that it was the very first relationship for both of us. So we've never been on a relationship before. So we both experienced these strong feelings for the very first time. And I feel very grateful for that. Not everyone has that chance of experiencing a relationship with a person that is also experiencing his first relationship. So it's a special feeling, and I feel very grateful for that. And I do feel that as time passed and we grew up, basically, we were 18, we were kids when we started, and we grew up, we changed, and our lives changed. And somewhere along the way, that special connection was, it was not lost all in a while, but it started getting lost, One of the reasons, and I think one of the reasons that made me fight so hard for that relationship and for so long is, even though I wasn't happy, was exactly that, because I remembered how happy I used to be and how much we used to love each other. And in a way, I think we were both trying to get back to that past, to that connection that we had. And of course, that's impossible, right? As we grow, and I do feel that all happen, even though I only had that relationship and, I was on that relationship for 16 years. I do feel that it's impossible to keep a relationship the exact same way. Because we change, right? People change, and what we want or what we need is different. Our life circumstances are different. For instance, when I started the relationship, I was still living on my parents' house, and but I was already working. But I was living on my parents' house, and my former partner was also living with his parents. He was actually on the university. He was studying. I was already working. So of course, then our lives changed. We moved out of our parents' house. He started working. I became an independent worker as an artist. So our lives changed. We changed as people as well. And so it's impossible. I mean, if two people are to be together, the relationship actually also needs to change. It's impossible to hold on or try to get back to a connection that it can never happen the same way. It will have to change. And I won't say that will be stronger or weaker. No, I think it can grow actually stronger. When you stay with a person for a long time, there's this deep connection and this deep care for that person, you know. And I think that will never go away, of course. I mean, we were so many years together. I feel like he's part of my family. You know, he's still my family, even though he's not my family anymore. But I do feel, for me, in a way, he's still my family, and he will always be my family. I will always worry about him. And it's normal, right? And that's okay. Another reason that that I feel like made me hold on to that relationship for so long was everything we lived together, and you know, and because we were 16 years together. And for instance, my former partner met many family members that were very dear to me that aren't alive anymore, and the other way around. So in my case, he knew my grandmas, and I already talked about my grandmas here. They were they were two very, very special ladies. I never met my grandpas. They passed away before I was born. But my grandmas were very special to me. And my former partner met them. And some uncles also that meanwhile passed on. I met his grandpa and grandma, and he still has one grandma that is alive, although she's not very, her head is not working very well anymore. But that's the thing. I mean, no matter who enters my life right now, and of course I can talk about my grandmas, but that person will never met them, right? And when I mention my grandmas to someone who met them, it's different, right? So that was another reason that was very, very strong for me. So coming back to the team again, I will do a small resume of the stages of grief that we talk, so I can give context here. So I talked about the 7 stages of grief: shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, and acceptance. So your head is not working too. We all have heads that don't work sometimes, Stig, right? Our heads are a bit crazy. Well, our body's like that as well. I think our heads are even worse. But yeah, she's not that lucid anymore. She has moments of clarity. Well, she had. I of course now I don't see her anymore. But last time I saw her, when I saw her, she wasn't seeing who I was. I noticed that she was not recognizing me. But then after a while, I noticed, she looked at me, and then she made like this face. She didn't say anything, but I saw on her face that she was seeing who I was. She was recognizing me, and it was really cool. But yeah, it's a bit hard. And fortunately, I never had those examples in my family. My family, my grandmas were always her heads were all were here till the last. They were all they had other health problems, but their heads were very sharp, very, very sharp-minded till the end. So 7 stages of grief. So shock, first one. Shock, first impact with the news of losing something or someone. And then we have denial, which is the refusal to believe that the news are true. Anger, it's actually the first expression of feelings that usually comes in the form of anger or rage. It's also the first stage where the feelings start coming out. Then we have bargaining, which is actually the attempt of the mind to rationalize our feelings and trying to deny feelings, compensating with something or someone else. So we have here cases of this. Well, for instance, when we're talking about grieving relationships, getting quickly into another relationship rebounds, right? People say rebounds, and I felt the pressure. Some of my friends were like, "Oh, you should have a rebound" or something like that. But well, and I have to say, I gave it some thought, yes. And I talked about this. There was a time that I went really quickly into dating, and then but then I realized it wasn't. Yeah, I realized it wasn't the right way to go. I realized I was just trying to compensate my feelings and denying my feelings, and that was not the way that I wanted to grieve. Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying this is the way how people deal, and I didn't want to deal that way. But other examples are drinking, for instance, or binge eating. There are people that start eating like crazy, or sleeping, or getting into an crazy exercise routine. So basically compensating with something or someone else. And then we have depression. And this depression usually happens when you cannot deny those feelings anymore, or you simply allow those feelings to come out. And then you feel sad, you feel loss of energy, too much or too less sleep, or too much or too less eating. In my case, usually I sleep too much and I eat too little. That's it's just my way of dealing. But usually it's actually the other way around. People that are depressed are diagnosed with not sleeping. I'm the other way around. I sleep too much, and they usually eat too much. They compensate eating. And I'm the other way around. I feel like not eating. And then there's a loss of will to do anything, which is basically like the main symptom of depression, right? And then we have the phase of, or the stage of testing. And testing is actually really interesting because it's where you start to test this new reality. And we start doing new things, see what works for not. Because I do feel this happens because usually when you go through grief, Jetta is pulling my headphones here. Okay. No. When you go through grief, you change. I do feel we change as people. And some things change. In my case, I changed many things that I felt like when you live together with a person, you compromise. And for instance, there was my eating habits I changed my eating habits a lot. Because my former partner, he used to exercise a lot. He ran, and he was almost a professional runner. He ran a lot. He wins races and all of that. So basically, of course, he needed to eat a lot more than I. Even though I am a person with an active lifestyle, I don't exercise that way, so I don't need to eat that much. But I had, of course, I had to take that in consideration when we were eating together, and that was pretty much most of the time, as he had a really free job, so usually he would eat at home pretty much every day, and I worked at home, so basically we ate together pretty much all the time. And so I ended up eating what he ate, although I would eat less. And when I started being by myself, okay, now I have freedom to test new foods, to try out new things, and I don't have to do carbohydrates or anything because I don't need them as much. So I tried new things. I remember I tried new recipes, I tried new ingredients. I wasted a lot of food because I ended up realizing that I didn't like some of those things I bought. But it's just the way things go. It's just you test, right? And this is just an example. I also changed my morning routines, and I tried different things to see what worked out. I also started, and then here, this happened later. So I had 2 phases of dating. So I had that part that when I started dating, when I was still on the bargaining phase, and that wasn't very healthy. And then I stopped because I realized that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't feel good with it. But then I started testing out dating again. I didn't start dating like every week or anything, but sometimes, I would put myself out there, go on a date, and meet someone. And also, I started reflected what I wanted for me. If I wanted to stay single and alone, if I wanted to meet someone. And when I started going to dates, is that I realized, no, I want to meet people, and I want to meet someone. But then I asked myself, okay, but if I meet someone, what do I want? I mean, do I want to keep things casual? Do I want to jump and look for a serious relationship? So basically, we start testing on this phase, on this stage. We start testing our present time, and also start looking for the future, like from this new perspective, like without that person or that thing that we lost or choose to let go of. Like, okay, I am this new person now. Who is this new person? Who is this new Sandra that is not on a relationship anymore? And is she happy being single? Is she happy being alone? Or does she want to meet people casually? Or is she looking for a serious relationship? So we start testing things. And finally, when this testing phase is over, that okay, so this is what I want. This is what I don't want. You start entering acceptance. And of course, even though, all these stages I mentioned, they don't always go through this order, and we may go back and forward or leave some stages more than once. There are people that don't even go through certain of these stages at all, because we are human beings, and the human mind is one of the greatest mysteries. Nobody is the same. We are all very, very unique, and the way we deal with grief or the way we feel things, it's always very different. This is just guidelines. I do feel that I went through all these stages. Sometimes I went back and forth on some of these stages. But no matter what happens, on the other stages, acceptance is always the last one. Is always the last one to come. Of course, you can still, you can be on acceptance, and then sometimes, for instance, when I found this song Forever, I went slightly back into the what here. I think I went back to a depression a bit, but just for a couple of minutes, and then I came back, But it's just sometimes when we see something that reminds us of what we lost or what we let go, sometimes memories still come, right? It's not like, okay, you are on acceptance now, so you will no longer feel sad, or you will never feel sad again, or you will never feel rage again. That's not the way things go. It just means that now you are in a place that you accept what was and what is and what will never be in this case. So in this last stage of grief, we begin to know this new reality of who we are. And we know what we like or not from all these new things we tried out on the previous stage of testing, right? And we accept this new reality without that person or thing, both in the present and the future, okay? And of course, the past. But the past is actually not that simple, because one thing that I notice about acceptance is that we start looking at the past through different lenses. It's like memories that used to make us cry now actually makes us smile. And it's what happened with this song. I found this song. At first I was crying, but then I started smiling, and wow, I felt all this. And then, I remember writing this song, and I remember singing. I remember showing this song to my former partner for the very first time, and how much he liked it, and how much I made him happy, and those are memories that now, and you can see my face, and I'm smiling, because that's exactly what happens. Is just, you don't feel sadness anymore. You just feel, you smile because you remember the happy times and not as much the bad times. I guess that's what happens when you start grieving first, right? So I do feel like all those negative emotions, the rage and sadness that you feel through grief, are basically forms of resistance to this new reality that we're in after grieving, and while we're grieving, actually. And that's why this stage is called acceptance, is because it's all about accepting what was, is, and what will never be. Because on this case, will never be, because you're grieving a person or a thing that is no longer in your life. So the future, that version of the future that you saw in your head, with that thing or person, will no longer come true. It is no longer a reality. So you have to grieve that. You have to grieve that version of the future as well. It's not only grieving the past. You have to grieve the past. You have to grieve the present, and you have to grieve the future. So starting with the past, and I do feel there are many reasons why we can feel bad remembering the past. There may be regret for things that were done or said, or things that were left unsaid or undone. And this happens a lot when someone passes away, right? Oh, I never said this to that person. I should have said it. Or, oh, the last time I saw that person, I wasn't, I should have said or done something. You know, this happens a lot. And this is guilt, right? This can lead to guilt if it was something that was on our end, or it can lead to resentment if it was on someone else's end. So if someone, oh, he should have done this, or he should have said that, or he said this, or he did that, right? That's resentment. And usually it comes out of an expectation that we want to undo, or we want to go back in time, basically, right? Because we want to change that. We are not happy with the way we behaved or the way someone behaved towards us, and we want to change it. And thing is, you know, we all know that the past is unchangeable, right? And well, it's past, it's gone. So it only exists in our memories, and I said this in another episode, they are not even reliable versions of the past, right? But it just proves that this is so universal, that we have so many movies, right, and dreams about time machines, that it basically just attempts of the human mind to change or relive a past that has gone. So the challenge here in the past is making peace with what was and what wasn't, because things were as they were. There's nothing you can do, no matter how bad you feel. No matter how much you go through the memories, I mean, they're still in the past, okay? And accepting our past means surrendering to what the past was for what it was. And forgiving ourselves if it was on our end, and forgiving others if it was on other people's ends. And just letting go, okay? There's nothing you can do. So there's no use, and it's just that. And I do feel, accepting the past, it's all about that. With the present and what is in this moment is just, actually, the present is the only real time when you have the power of choice, and feeling bad right now usually is another form of resistance, because if you feel bad in the present, you are not accepting your present. It's or it can also be because instead of being present in the present, you are in your head reliving the past or worrying about the future. So basically, this is another form of resistance. You're not in the present moment. You are dwelling into your memories, or trying to come up with different scenarios on a future. So I already mentioned two feelings that are associated with living in the past, which are guilt and resentment. So basically, when you're missing something or someone that is not in your life right now, it means that you're resisting, you're not accepting the fact that that person or that thing is not in your life right now. So this can lead to many feelings like sadness or anger. But that's the thing. I mean, you have to accept, you have to stop fighting it, stop resisting it. So the challenge here is actually exactly that. It's keeping your focus in the moment and learning to separate feelings from the past or future from the feelings of resisting the current moment, and making peace with what currently is. So accepting our present means surrendering, forgiving, and being focused in the current moment. And finally, with the future, and with the future, I say with what may or may not be. Because again, I mean, I say what will never be, because of course, I mean, if you're grieving something or someone that is no longer in your life, that future that you planned with that person or that thing in your life will no longer exist. So you have to grieve that version, and you have to let go of that version that you created for your future. But there's also versions of the future that may or may not be. You can also worry about, okay, but now what can I do? Should I, in my case, for instance, should I buy a house to restore? Should I go pay rent somewhere? Where should I move? So I was basically worrying about what I could do about the future. And of course, that's necessary because I had decisions to make. But there are ways to doing it. You can think about your future in a productive way, so focusing on solutions, or you can focus on problems. So when you're looking into the future, there are two areas to focus on. So the first is the area of what will never be, right? So that's the version the future that you envisioned with that person or thing that is no longer in your life. So in this new reality, you have to let go of this version you had created. And so it's basically letting go and accepting that it won't happen. So you can open space to a new version of your future self. So only after letting go of this version that you had of the future with that thing or person in your life, you have to let go of that first so you can open space to, okay, so that will no longer happen. So what now? So this is the second area. So is what may or may not be. And this is because no matter how well we try to plan our future, it will never be exactly the way we plan it, right? And you know it. I mean, it's impossible to predict everything. Life is unpredictable. And of course, we can and we must make plans for it. We must plan our future. We must think about our future. But one thing is to plan our future. Another thing is worrying about things we can't control too much and in a non-productive way. Right? Some feelings associated with living in the future are anxiety, stress, worry, or fear. So this song I presented to you today, I mean, it's called Forever. So of course, it talks a lot about a version of the future that will never happen, right? So, well, truth is nothing lasts forever. And even galaxies and stars blow up, so nothing lasts forever if you wait long enough. Some people do stay together during all their lives, but that's not forever either, right? Because one of them dies and that's it. So that's not forever either. Sometimes it's just impossible for the one, if people spend a lifetime together, sometimes it's just impossible to envision a future without that person. And we see that sometimes in old couples, one of them dies and then the other, usually after a few months, dies as well. Because it's just impossible for them to see a future without the other, right? And I remember my former partner's grandparents were like that. They were this cutest couple. They were always together, always focusing on each other, always smiling. Oh gosh, they were always smiling. They enjoyed a very, very simple life in a small village in the north of Portugal. But there was always a smile on their face, I love them a lot. I think they were so great, But, as their health deteriorated with age, they both went to live in one of those retirement homes. And but they were together, so they couldn't care less. I mean, as long as they were together, they didn't mind at all. They actually enjoyed being there with the company of other people. They were always doing activities and all of that. Unfortunately, Grandpa, he suffered from Parkinson, and soon his health started going downhill. And when he passed away, pretty soon the grandma also became very ill and passed away as well. But I still remember last time I saw her, and she was in very, very deep pain, unfortunately. But she still managed to make this beautiful, beautiful smile. And I remember the words she said. She said, I was with my former partner back then. And she said, love and cherish each other deeply every day. And it's amazing. And I still can see her face. And she was in such a deep pain. And she still managed to smile while saying that, while looking at us. And I thought it was the most beautiful thing ever, you know? And I get emotional just remembering that, you know, because I can still see her clearly, you know. And she was on a bed, she couldn't even get up anymore. And I'm pretty sure that she managed to smile like that because she had accepted what was, you know, even though she was also passing away. She had accepted what was, what is, and what will never be. She was remembering the life she spent with her partner, with gratitude for what was. And that was in that smile, you know. And that's so beautiful and that's wonderful. But one thing that I realized is that not everyone is meant to stay together with the same person all their lives. And that's also okay. That's also okay. We shouldn't think that that's our goal. Our goal is to feel good with ourselves and to feel good with people around us. And if that's not possible with the same person throughout all your life, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is just trying to make it work when it's not working, and making each other miserable. That's what's wrong. So that's what I have for you guys today. It was a big episode, emotional for me. I almost cried. Caught myself in time. She was such a a beautiful lady. They were both, but unfortunately he already had memory loss problems when I met my former partner's grandpa. But she was very here. She was very lucid, and she was amazing. She was a wonderful lady.